What's up, Scyushi Squad? We are back in small, and today we're going to be reviewing the latest store pack. Hold on a second. I don't know what its name is, so I took a screenshot of it. SCARAB'S Eve pack. So, for those of you that don't know, whenever I see a new store pack in the game, I take a screenshot of both it and its description, because otherwise, once you buy it, it is gone forever, and you can never see it, and you'll never know what you got out of it. Some packs say owned, but most of them just go away. But anyways, you guys don't care about any of that stuff. We're going to be looking at all the items today, and then we're going to end up ultimately deciding whether or not you think that this pack, or whether or not I think that this pack is worthwhile. Essentially, you're going to have to spend around 20 bucks, that's 20 US, in order to end up getting all these items. You do get quite a bit. So if I check the recently acquired, we get all the items up to this mount right here. So that's quite a bit of well, it's a little bit of mastery. Kind of. These packs are kind of standard nowadays anyway, you know, with the amount of items that they end up having. But anyways, like, let's get into it. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing and smashing like. You guys know how it is. So this little ally right here, we'll start with him because it is, of course, a little slime block. He's all smiley, and he does have bones inside him, which I appreciate the fact that they didn't just go for something super duper cheap like a Minecraft slime, and instead they went for some weird gross thing that doesn't belong in anyone's voxel game. But it's still here in Trove, and I mean, he's kind of angry, so I like him. And then, you know, then there's going to end up being the most obvious, which is going to end up being this Revenant costume. Now, normally it doesn't have the head. I was trying to find, like, okay, what headpiece goes with this? Apparently none, I guess, because it's supposed to be the Headless Horseman, right? And so the pumpkin on the front is supposed to be his head. But that doesn't really make that much sense to me, so I just put this sucker on, which is an event pumpkin head. I forget where we get them, but you should be able to get them while Shadow's Eve is going on. Oh my god. It's a murder spree. The VFX and just style of the costume is pretty cool. It does actually have glowing VFX on the shield. That's always there. That is not related to anything that I've done. You know, it's not like a stellar weapon or hat or anything like that. It's just part of the costume. Okay, cool. Base attack, you know, not really anything special there. Of course, our spear is our horse, which is kind of hilarious and cute. The right click, check this out. So this is going to be a weird one, because it places down a pumpkin and then it shatters him. Bruh! Bruh! Or if it was Roblox, achoo! There's a Roblox game that I play that has that sound effect, so I'm, you know, it's kind of weird. But yeah, I just think it's surprising that these actually have, like, physics to them. So potentially if you had like a whole group of Revenants all doing this at once, maybe it would lag somebody out. Or it would just look really, really cool. The number one spears, the spirit spears, this is what that looks like. So you can see that there are like a bunch of fireballs and stuff coming out of us. So pretty dang cool, if I do say so. The ultimate, I don't know if this is going to end up necessarily bothering anybody with photosensitivity, but I just know that it kind of is a little bit awkward, so I'll kind of try and make my camera a little bit rather than looking straight into it. Whoa, it's just, I don't know. Maybe it was glitching earlier, because the first time I used it, I was just like, oh, that looks gross. But now it actually seemed pretty reasonable. But anyways, yeah, that's going to end up being the Revenant costume. There's also going to end up being, yes, this mount, which, I don't know, it's just a mount. It's like a Persian cat thing, and you can see we've got the glowing VFX on our back because our shield, I guess, technically goes on our back, but it doesn't actually when we're on this mount. So that's awkward, and that's why you don't normally add VFX to any of the costumes devs. But okay, whatever. Anyways, it's a cat. That's it. There's also going to end up being the boat, but I guess we'll take a look at that a little bit later. There is also, so here's the thing. Out of all the costumes that I saw just when I was taking a sneak peek at the pack, I totally thought there was a Neon Ninja costume. Turns out there is not. There is a Vanguard costume that, like, I thought this was the Neon Ninja costume. This one is dope. This is a really cool costume, man. Like, probably just because it's like some of my favorite colors, you know, the neon green, black and white and all that stuff. But I don't know, there's just something I like about it. I think it's, you know, it's got to do with Day of the Dead stuff, so that's why it looks so cool. And it also has all sorts of unique VFX with the punching VFX, the lasers themselves having like a weird acid at the end of them, which is really, really neat. Our number 1 has bones and a slight green tint, but generally speaking, not really. Let's see what our alt does. So our shots are going to end up being kind of a green toned acid, which also does shoot bones out of them on the big boy explosion, which is kind of funny. And then the explosion VFX of that, which goes away way too quickly, does boo. And the reason why I know that, even though it was so brief, is because that is video effects that has been stolen from the Halloween Dragon. Then there's our number 1 ability, which again is going to end up being all in theme. And then our ultimate ability, which again is slightly in theme. I don't know. I mean, at least I can appreciate the fact that they went the extra mile. This is a great Vanguard costume. Not necessarily as good as the more recent craftable ones that we ended up getting, obviously, but I still really like this one a lot. Then there's going to be this little ally, which he is adorable. And actually, I appreciate the extra detail that they did, because the trailing object or VFX that's following this little guy, it's supposed to be one of his rolls of toilet paper. So it just kind of falls out of him. And that's why it's still drooping, even though he's standing perfectly still. It's just the best way that they could end up making the VFX do that, which I like it. I also realized I didn't end up showing you the stats of the other allies, so that's my bad. So this one is 10% health regen, 25 magic find, and then the other one that we saw was the slime, actually, and that's 4 flash capacity, 5 movement speed, and then there's going to end up being the other ally, which I think we have on our next character here, which is the Bard. No, we don't. Okay, well, I'll put it on here. It's the Catropic Jar, which is 10% health regen and 15% physical damage. Okay, weird, but whatever. And it's going to end up being this little mummy jar thing where it's got like cat organs in it. Kind of gross when you know that fact. And then the costume for the Bard, I guess if you could consider this a costume, it doesn't really look like it's a costume to me. I don't know. Oh, I don't have a face on. There we go. Because he's got this little smug, I don't know, mime guy, right? Kind of cool. It's weird that he's playing a violin the way that he is, unless that's supposed to be a cello, but even then it's still very, very strange. VFX, I'm assuming, is not going to end up being any different, although that is white. I could be wrong. Normally it's like a bright yellow. The right click is red, which I don't really get it, but whatever. And then when we throw down our star, it is literally luggage. What does it explode into? Dirt? Okay, cool, whatever. And then the songs, which, you know, these are basically okay. I was gonna say they're all the same, but nope, that one actually has like a theater go around him. That's an odd one. Okay, let's see if we can end up getting one of the other songs here, just to check it out. It puts like a spotlight down on him. I kind of appreciate that, but at the same time, I feel like it's really going to hurt my eyes if we have a whole bunch of bards doing it, right? Like, it just, I don't know, man. Oh man, my voice sounds dead, doesn't it? And then there's going to end up being a Solarion costume. Oh my god, the first Solarion costume added to the game is cash shop oriented, which, I mean, no surprise, but it is a pretty dang cool one. Like, his bird face already looks so stupid. Like, look at him. I love it. Absolutely love it. And then our bird is a complete reskin and is going to end up being an Egyptian scarab, which totally makes sense as well. Yeah, I don't know why so many games that I'm playing right now are obsessed with this whole like desert thing and pushing it as if it's like a Halloween related. Like, I get the mummy being related to Halloween, but how did a desert as a theme become related to Halloween? You know, Trove's got this costume. New World got a desert update. Genshin Impact got a desert update. Tower of Fantasy got a desert update. Core Keeper is going to get a desert update. They're just late because they're an indie game. But anyways, let's look at the actual mount. Haha, I baited you. This is going to end up being kind of the walking version of this guy, which, I mean, I think it's cool. You know, it's a scarab, man, and I always like these ladybug reskins because they are going to end up just flying out in the air and actually flapping their wings and stuff. It's kind of horrifying. I wish Trove's like enemies had the animations that some of these mounts do. But anyways, let's take a look at the Solarian's abilities. So definitely has unique VFX. That's actually pretty cool. Seems like it's a feather. I don't know if I approve of that. So looks familiar, doesn't it? Those feathers right there where our arrow is conflicting with the ground or whatever. Those are the Paragon wing VFX, which are the rarest wings in the entire game. And they're reusing it for this guy's arrows, which whatever. Okay, cool. I guess who cares? Holding the right click. I mean, it's purple, so obviously I'm going to enjoy it. Yeah. Yeah, I like the way that they've done this. And then our number one, which, ooh, that's actually a little bit different. I kind of like that. It's a bit different than just the standardized flame that we saw on the ground. And then our ultimate, which is just going to end up being some fancy explosions. Nothing super duper crazy there. And then there's going to end up being, last but not least, if I'm not mistaken, is going to end up being the boat, right? Yeah. So hopefully we can actually see it here. You know what? Let's actually head over to, well, we'll try it here. It's kind of a little bit messed up, but can we actually, there we go. So this thing is crazy. Look at the detail on this thing. Like, that actually looks stupendous. It's actually kind of creepy how detailed it is. Doesn't fit with Trove like even slightly, dude. This is like pixel art, but like, well, it's 3D, I guess. It's like voxel art. Looks great. Absolutely fantastic. Like, I don't know what freak ended up making this, but my God, it is a hyper realistic skull with chips in it. The only thing that it's missing is a brain, which means that it's probably my skull. But anyways, it's got a weird vertebrae back thing too, and that ends up extending out when we end up sailing with it, which again is horrifying. I don't know how this got approved to go into this video game other than the fact that it was clearly a lot of hard work. And then we've got skulls like this. So I don't know how we got away with something like this, but hey, whatever. Anyways, that's gonna do it for the pack. Do I think it's worth $20? Yeah, it is. There was a lot of good stuff in it. Nothing super duper cursed though. It was kind of just, oh, this is really cool, right? Out of all of them, what would I say is my favorite costume? Probably the Solarion, just because of the fact that we haven't got enough Solarion costumes yet. And I think that this one's really cool. One of the other things that I really enjoy about it is that the bow itself almost looks like a staff weapon instead of an actual bow and arrow. And just the costume itself is just so unique compared to the other Solarion costume, because usually when we end up getting new costumes for classes, especially newer classes, a lot of their costumes are very, very similar to one another, and it takes a while before we get the one that kind of stands out. So that's my 2 cents towards it. What was your favorite item out of the pack, and do you think it was worthwhile? You can leave your comment down below if you feel the need to discuss it. I always end up reading all the comments and stuff, so yeah. Otherwise, I appreciate you watching. Smash like, sub for more, buy the merch you want to support the channel, and have a wonderful day, everybody.